We certainly are. We're here now and we're recording because we have some crucial issues to talk to you about because there are many crucial issues that are happening these days. And let's start off, by showing you this video of the demonstration in Minneapolis. Incredible, because you'll see. Okay, I won't tell you what it's going to be before you can see.
All right.
Incredible about that is the everybody's so synchronized, you know? Everybody is, like a one solid body, with one voice, eyes out now, It's incredible. Very, very strong demonstration. I've never seen anything like that. The voices are all synchronized like that. Very impressive. Yeah. What else is happening, Steve?
Well, there's some issues with the FBI. There's some issues with this investigation in the U.S. This investigation of the Minneapolis shooting.
Hmm.
The FBI agent who had opened up the civil rights investigation against Nicole Good was told to reclassify the investigation as an assault on the police officer,
Oh.
and she has resigned from the FBI.
Uh, wow.
So that's how. But people don't know the FBI always does this. This isn't anything new. The
Hmm.
FBI always approaches police
Hmm.
instances where police use deadly force.
Hmm.
Their routine is to defend the police officer, not to investigate the situation.
Yeah. Yeah. They
This is
protect.
just this is just receiving
Yeah.
the spotlight. But
Uh-huh.
that this is a long it's a long known history that if say you were a part of an investigation the FBI is carrying out in which a policeman carries out a murder of a civilian or a shooting of a civilian and a civilian dies. The
Wow.
FBI will approach you with a pro police bias.
Yeah.
Oh, the officer's family, look at what they're going through, blah, blah, blah. This is known.
That's right.
So this FBI agent who quit
Yeah.
or was forced to quit
Uh-huh.
wasn't going to play by the playbook.
Uh-huh.
And I hope that they will consider joining the movement
Hmm.
against this shooting because they have a lot they could teach people.
Yeah.
Now they're out. Now they're outside the agency.
Yeah. Uh-huh. This
So that
reminds me
being
of the the massacre of our comrade in Phoenix, Arizona,
right,
uh, May 27th of 2019, when they were at that wedding at a synagogue that they had set up in the middle of this Glendale County, where the police of both Glendale and uh, Peoria um, are infiltrated by the local Nazi group. And when I tried to get an investigation into this, with the Attorney General of Arizona, Department of Justice, and even tried to force the FBI to do an investigation. And they claimed that they were doing it. And then later on, there was an announcement that there was an investigation by the FBI into the Arizona police or the Phoenix Police Department. And then nothing after that. No, and then there was one other sort of request for further documentation. That was it. Nothing ever happened after that, because the police were implicated. in the reports, of the affidavits of the people who were witnesses. They placed the police right there, giving backup support to the Nazi murderer. So, they weren't going to touch it. So, one of
Right.
these days, get more information, maybe we can get a leak onto that. Then, we can take them to court, sue them for criminal negligence and put them into prison.
Well, let's hope. I'm just hoping that this FBI agent who quit or who was forced out, it's probably what it was. They were forced out.
Yeah,
Um, I would love to talk to them. The family of Miss Good, I'm sure we'll have to talk to them because unless there's some agreement they have to sign that they can't disclose information, what they know will be very interesting, will be very important. Because there could be evidence that the FBI is covering up. Because, I mean, it's clear that something has gone awry here when an FBI officer quits. That's kind of unusual, but there's the story saying that there have been purges around the country, so there could be a situation where there is some disagreement among veteran officers as to what the agency is doing.
probably.
I mean, it could because here's the deal, man. Here's the deal, and we don't like talking about this, but there could be some people in law enforcement who just want to enforce the law. There could be, there just could be. You know what I mean? Who don't want police brutality, who are not about murdering somebody, but they want to keep the streets safe and keep the country safe, and they go in that profession. Okay, well, okay. So we have to assume there are some bodies in there who ain't necessarily a killer cop, or they just want to do the job. Okay, and if they see something that's awry or corrupt, they're going to be offended because they came into the organization with good intentions. We don't have to like the organization, but there are people in those organizations like that. There are. Whether you and I would agree that there are not, there are some that aren't there to brutalize people. They want to obey the law. They believe in whatever. So if there's been these purges in the FBI or purges or people being quitting or being forced out, it could be that Cash Patel and his crew are just turning it into a Trump witch hunt organization with Christy Nome and all them people, and that may be what's going on, maybe not, but we'll see. And of course, we have the whole Greenland saga. I'm sure you and I can talk about that for a long time.
I think they're
Um,
giving into Trump there because they're making some sort of
well,
undisclosed.
no, there can't be any deal. There can be no deals. No deals can be made. This is something that the people of the world have to put their foot down. There can be no deal. We keep hearing about We keep hearing about this, but the Greenlanders are resolute. There is no deal that can be made.
Yeah, they're not included in the negotiations. They've already made a deal, really.
So, what deal could be made with whom? With Denmark? With whom?
With the
I
EU.
mean,
EU has taken
what?
from Denmark. They've taken over Greenland as a colony.
Well, this is the most interesting development in a long time because I searched the internet pretty well on this,
Yeah,
and there are no one from the Arctic that I can see is for this. Nobody,
yeah, yeah.
nobody. So it could just be a bunch of lists. Remember now, it could be a bunch of lies
Well,
because
what I've heard
the
on
news.
this, okay?
Okay,
So what I've heard is that, okay, there's not going to be any sort of, political sovereignty handed over the United States, and they're not going to send in the military. But what they want is to install the anti-missile missiles in the north there to form what they call the Dome over the United States of America. So the Golden Dome, the United States of America, is not made by missiles in the United States of America because then it'll be too late because any incoming missiles will already be over the United States of America, and even if they're shot down, they're still going to disperse an immense amount of radioactivity, right? Okay. But for them to do the same thing over Greenland is okay. They're willing to sacrifice Greenland and have it polluted with radioactivity as a defense shield Against what? As against a
Against nobody. Against nobody. Because once nuclear war breaks out, it's all over.
no, against a possible a second strike against a first strike by the United States on Russia. This is a shield against a possible second strike from any, surviving missiles that Russia may have that they would be sending
That's
back
okay.
at them.
Well, they can say all they want. If nuclear war breaks out, the United States and Russia, everybody kiss their butt goodbye. Because
Yeah,
there's so many nuclear weapons. Russia has more nuclear weapons, and the nuclear weapons going back and forth will destroy the shield real quick. Trust me, the shield is not going to be worth a damn. Israel lack of ability to have its Iron Dome fitting off Iranian missiles show those shields are just as good as the letters that are written on the warranty.
yeah,
But Greenlanders and people of Denmark should just say no. No. See, this is where people got just get defeated. No. No US military weapons on our soil. No. Because with that will come something else. Yes, it will. You know how they are.
yeah.
Give them a foot, give them a centimeter, they take a meter.
Uh,
Give them a meter, they take a kilometer. You know, right? Give
you
them an
know,
inch, they take a foot. Give them a foot, they take a yard. Give them a yard, they take a mile. That's how they
there's
are.
there's there's another sort of aspect to this whole thing, because Carney, the Prime Minister of Canada, he's talking about a um, security sort of um, perimeter around Canada, Greenland, and the northern European states. Okay.
Interesting.
Because, they're all concerned, with Arctic sovereignty. They're all concerned about, managing, like who has control over the Arctic Ocean. Okay. The one country that they've left out, Russia. That's Carney for you, you know. Despite, his talk at the Davos conference, just the other day, very good speech, but nonetheless, in which he was, putting down basically, imperialist hegemony without, using the word, but doing a very nice
Right,
job. Yeah.
right.
And but he's still into a Occidental framework in which he's talking about setting up a security coordination amongst all those
Well,
Western states, but not Russia. No, he can't.
let's wait a minute. Let's just be very frank about this. All our viewers, all our listeners, the United States is the one being belligerent on Greenland, not Russia, not China. They really could give a damn.
Yeah,
They really could really care less
yeah,
in the sense of they have no desire to control any country. All they want is their national interest as far as their this periphery around the country free of hostile forces. The only
yeah.
one putting belligerence in the picture is the United States. So, like I said in our last program, Europe will do better to end this dumbass war, excuse my language, with Ukraine and get Russia as an ally.
Mhm.
That's what they should do.
Yeah.
Because and Carney should be including Russia in the Arctic discussion because they're part of the Arctic too. People don't want to admit that, but they're part of the Arctic too.
Only
Okay,
danger to the
so
Arctic is the United States. They want to
right,
send,
the United
like,
States the only part of the Arctic the United States has is around Alaska. That's it.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
its Arctic footprint.
yeah.
Besides that, it has no Arctic footprint. That's it. So most of the Arctic is not colonized by the United States. It's mostly the Greenland, the Scandinavian countries, Russia, that kind of thing. The United
Okay.
States is just, anyway, I want to talk about that because there's a lot of talk about the Arctic and Greenland, and
There's another.
I did a video on them on my channel on
Yeah.
YouTube. I have a Greenland representative of a party who give a very, very anti-racist analysis, a legitimately anti-racist analysis of why the whole Greenland conversation is nonsense from an anti-racist, pro-indigenous perspective. Yeah, it was very good. You should go with Pantherism and listen to that interview. It's
Name
a
of
good
your
interview.
channel again?
Pantherism.
Yes. And
Yeah.
the identity does it have in the if you were to do a search, for your channel,
I would just
what's
say YouTube Pantherism channel, YouTube Pantherism channel.
okay.
And
Uh,
it's just an interview I got from a network, and this lady she's one of the Greenland parties, and she has an anti-racist perspective on the attempt to colonize Greenland by the United States. Very, I
excellent.
mean, just very political. She just lays it out historically. And basically said Trump is just it's all about that they reject the American ethos and the American ideology. So therefore, since they reject that, their culture rejects it, they're not interested in being part of the United States.
Hmm.
That's it. That's just bottom line.
Yeah.
And she also said that they have free health care. The United States will not have free health care.
Yeah.
The United
This
States
is
will not have free health. This is a struggle that is important to make. Yes, but the United States will not have free health care. To have free health care in the United States means the United States empire has crumbled because the base of the United States is privatization of everything. They want to privatize schools and they can't. The health care to privatize to get rid of private health care would be the complete dissolution of the U.S. empire.
uh,
Pharmacies, private doctors, pharmacies, insurance companies are making too much money.
uh,
It's the one stranglehold over the American population, that and credit agencies, credit
mhm,
reporting bureaus. So something about the American situation people don't know. Private health care, private insurance, credit reporting agencies have a lock on America.
mhm,
They have a lock on. They have a lock. And
mhm,
every attempt to minimize the power of credit reporting agencies, every attempt to minimize the power of big pharma and private health care is shot down without even a conversation.
mhm. Wow.
Democrats, Republicans, all of them, they're opposed to you and I having free health care. And that's why Greenlanders must fight like hell to make sure the United States is not. Because if the United States got control over Greenland, health care there would end.
Uh,
Yes, it would.
well,
Free health care would end. It would end.
I don't think that that's on the table. That's not gonna happen. They're not sort of, I think they're giving up on a political annexation of Greenland.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Need,
I remember. Yeah, I think that, and that is a victory. That's a victory. If that is given up on, that's a victory. No, it's a pro sovereignty victory to me. I mean, are they going to go to war over it and have NATO dissolve?
that's very, yeah, that's a key issue. Yeah, it's a great victory. Yeah, I didn't think of it that way.
Yeah, I
Because
mean, it's a pro sovereignty victory because everyone in the world, except for the Trump administration, is saying, "Are you out of your freaking mind?" I mean, from the seizure of Maduro, it still hasn't gotten the condemnation it deserves. I don't think.
yeah, yeah,
You'll take a head of state, put him in jail. You did it
yeah,
before with Noriega. It's always somebody in Latin America,
yeah.
a brown person, always, or kill Gaddafi, an Arab person. It's always somebody who's not Anglo-Saxon white,
That hurts. Yeah,
European.
I met
Come on,
Gaddafi.
that's this. Come on, kidnap it, man.
He's a
Come
humble
on
man.
now, this is ridiculous.
He
The world
was.
should be not. The world should be beyond, besides itself. Like right now, there's a story about a 5-year-old child taken into custody of ICE. People are beside themselves. Now ICE has to speak up. Okay. So Maduro, what's happening with him getting out of jail? I mean,
Hmm.
what's up with it? I mean, I'm just saying, why is he still in jail? There's clearly no charge against him. They're violating his rights. He was the president of the country. I don't even have to like Maduro's policies.
Hmm.
No, I don't. There's sovereignty. You can't just grab me. What is this? What is this?
Mm.
So I think in that respect, this has been a victory for pro-sovereignty. And pro-sovereignty isn't anti-imperialist. I mean, there's an anti-imperialist part of pro-sovereignty, true. But
Mm.
pro-sovereignty is actually rightists. This is a right. I have a right to my country. Get the hell out of here.
Yeah.
I mean, they only pull that crap when it's brown people, Asian people, non-European, they pull it on them. And the lady said that. She says, we looked at how you treated the native people of Alaska and the United States, and they aren't treated too good. She said this.
Uh,
She said this. I said, yeah, that's right.
no.
So this thing about Maduro is still in jail. What's up with that?
Mm.
It's not cool. No, 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 no.
I was thinking
Let
of another,
alone that,
in the north of
you know,
Canada, a question of sovereignty there, over the Northwest Passage, it's called, because
yes,
global warming, now the boats will be able to go year round, through over through the north of Canada into the Pacific Ocean from the Atlantic, they don't have to go through the Panama Canal anymore. So it's Inuit territory. That's who it is, who lives
right,
there,
it
right?
is. It's right. Sure is.
And it's also part of the Canada, it's part of the Canadian Confederation, So, but the United States is calling this Northwest Passage an international waterway, okay?
Well, it is. It isn't. Sorry.
Or seaway,
They
here
call
in
it. They call it the damn thing they want. They can call it anything like the Gulf of Mexico, the Gulf of America. Oh, screw you. Okay, whatever. They call it anything they want to call it. It's theft. Any way you look at it, it's stealing.
That's right.
It's
That's like
stealing.
1956 when France and England, went and tried to take back the Suez Canal from the nationalization made by Nasser. Well, and then
Well, well,
stepped up.
well.
No, you imperialists cannot do that, And now they're doing it themselves, Like really.
Mm-hmm. So we gotta have more We gotta have more people in the Europe and more. I mean, well, yeah, gotta have more people in the world speaking up about Maduro. Man, it's not right, man. He should not be in jail, man.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just there's nothing. This is nothing but how do you what I'm starting to. Well, I'm not gonna say on the air, but I'm a little concerned that this is becoming normalized. So he's a bad guy. No, he's not. He's a political prisoner. He's president of a country. He's a political prisoner, and that's it. And
That's right.
somebody need to get him out of jail. This is not. This doesn't go well with.
There
Okay,
could be court appearances in which he gets to have a say or something, but I haven't seen anything, no
yeah,
coverage
they're
of
they're they're, they're, they're trying to keep it. They're trying to keep it really, really on like the down low. The court appearances and everything. They're trying to keep it really hush hush.
court
You know,
appearances.
he's and every
Public.
picture of him, he's in handcuffs.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah. Present the
I,
image of him as a prisoner, as a criminal.
I have one other illustration to show about the war in Ukraine and
Sure,
where it's gotten to. This is put out by Al Jazeera, which usually supports Ukraine, actually. Now let's see. Now, if I think that's here, and yes, and then oh yes, I have to go to my Facebook, and it should be there. My Facebook has all sorts of news and reports, as well as the arty stuff. What's that? Oh, I don't have it lined up during riots in Iran. Hmm. Oh, this is the wrong tab. I'm not.
but that's one hell of a story. Israeli bullets found in Iranian pro. It's really interesting.
Yeah, I've got too much open here. Here it is.
It's close, some man. Close,
Okay.
some. I don't know. I think that war looks about over to me. That war looks about over to me.
Yeah.
That war looks about this. This war need to come. If they have this much territory they've taken from Ukraine, it's a seal. It's a kind of a contiguous area that can all be resolved with a peace conference. Blah blah blah.
This
In,
year,
in, in, you
run
know,
come to the frontier of Donetsk, they stop. They don't go into the
right.
Ukraine.
They're not
Ex-
going. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's the way it
is-
looks now. I'm surprised that this war is not over because Ukraine must be waiting for something, hoping for something to happen because they don't hold enough territory. Just looking at the territory, they don't hold enough in that section to even stand a chance.
no,
No,
no
I
chance.
mean
And
they
that,
can't even look at it. It's solid. It's a solid block of territory. How can you take that back? It would take you years. It would take years to get that back. Yes, it would. Yeah, it would take years. It's
they're
over. That's
negotiating
over.
right now. All they're negotiating about are these patches of territory.
Oh,
They
man,
want that's
excuse
it.
me, give up. Just give it up, man. It's not worth it. Look at it. Look at it. It's over. Come on, look at it. Realistically, it's over. Those patches of land, just give it to them. Get some agree. Russia agreed to something, and that's it. We agreed to give you $1 billion or something. Give you $1 billion for your. So, we help to rebuild your energy infrastructure. So, some shit like that. Just that's
Yeah,
over.
put
It's over. Look at it. Look at
some
it.
funds in the West, to do a rehabilitation of the territories that are damaged. He didn't say
Yeah,
whether
whatever. Just work. Work something out with them. Just forget about that. It's over. You can't. That's the Ukrainians said that they want this territory. No, you can't have it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You can't have it. It's over. Forget
then
about it, man. It's
let the people have a referendum to decide, where they want to live. That's all.
yeah. That's all. That's all.
Last
That's over.
referendums I heard about, was overwhelming vote in favor of joining the Russian Federation. And there was like 86%, 76%, stuff
This
like that.
this whole this this whole war now, Ukraine won't surrender. It's just kind of like, what's wrong with you, man?
Yeah,
I
really.
mean, I mean, there are wars. I mean, in every war, I don't care what side you're on. Here's a situation. Here is the situation, man. Look at it, okay?
Yeah, but the Ukrainian people, they don't know this.
I
They don't
I
have,
know that.
you
That's
know,
that's the cold hard factor by Ukrainian people have been hoodwinked. They've been hoodwinked or forced to go on with this crap, and the boys have been, I mean, it's just they need to put an end to this right away. It's just there's no there's no hope for that. There's no hope. Sometime like in Georgia and Armenia. I mean Armenia and Azerbaijan. The Armenians did not want to give it up, man. They had to give it up, man. Right? The Armenians won that land, Nagorno-Karabakh, and they lost it, man.
yeah.
And they had to say, okay, we lost it. We gotta get out of here. Sometimes it's like that. I know it's hard for everybody to accept a defeat.
Same thing
But
happened in yeah, because the SDF, the American-backed Kurdish militia there that had taken control over a large number of provinces in the Northeast and the
right,
oil field. They, were trying, the new government there, they were trying to negotiate with them to set up a federation, with autonomy and all this, but they stay in Syria. And so it didn't work. So now the central
nope, it
government
didn't work, did it? It didn't work, did it? Nope, it didn't.
moved in there and dismantled their whole military occupation. They've taken control of the oil fields, some of the oil fields already, including a prison with 7,000 ISIS
Oh man, that's
prisoners,
that's that's too many people in that prison, man.
political prisoners, actually.
That's a lot of prisoners. That's a lot of prisoners, man.
That's sort of another sort of a conflict that's seeming to coming to a resolution there. There's not going to be a big civil war. It's over. Syria,
Yeah, it looks like, I mean, unless the SDF has got some backup that they ain't showing. Once the prison got overrun and I mean, it seemed like they took a little mauling. They took a mauling by the forces that attacked those prisons. They kind of mauled them pretty badly. So they're gonna have to retreat. because they just got mauled. They got messed up pretty badly.
We've
They
done that.
didn't have a chance. They were outgunned, outmanned. And it happens in wars.
Yeah.
It happens in wars. Sometimes we just get, your enemy gets one up on you, and then you're fleeing or trying to just avoid casualties. What I'm saying. You know what it's like.
And even the
Yeah,
United
but
States, they're letting Syria do what it wants to now. Next up,
it seems like they are. I think at least in that part of the country, I think you're right. Yeah.
next is the question of Golan Heights, getting the Israel
Uh,
to
well, man, Israel, man. You and I know, man. Israel not backing up on nothing, man. They're not getting the Golan Heights back, even though Syria has a right to the Golan Heights, even under the current leadership, which I don't like the leadership. But irrespective whether I like it or not, it is their country. They have the right to have it returned. You're right, and it ain't gonna happen.
Now, if Israel refuses to leave the Golan Heights, that puts Syria in a objectively in a solidarity position with the Palestinians, the Palestinian
But
resistance, and the Palestinian militia that exists in Syria as well. Huh?
but the current leadership doesn't like the Palestinian leadership. You know that. I mean, you and
No,
I know. I mean, you and I know you're right. You and I know you're right. You are right. But the current Syrian government is opposed to the Palestinian movement. So
yeah, they're afraid of them because
I,
they have
I,
strong
you know,
militias.
yeah,
Now,
yeah. Well, they need
the
to,
United Front there. If they don't,
but
then they'll end up fighting each other, I suppose. But
Syria don't have the Syrian army can't fight Israel. You know that. I
no,
mean, Syrian army is nothing compared to Israel. Israel could destroy that army, that Jelani, that current army has, if they were given the approval by the United States to destroy it. They could destroy it overnight.
that's
That's
why
that that's yeah,
that's
right.
why the Syrian government has now invited Turkey in to set up a military base in the center of Syria that is bigger
But
than the American.
is Turkey going to do that? I doubt it. I doubt it. Maybe they will. Let's see. Let's see. Because once Turkey sets up, what I heard Israel was doing is bombing Turkey every time they started setting some up. Israel just bombs it. That's what
That,
I read and heard. But they have a right to invite Turkey there. It's their country. They have a right to invite anybody they want there. We'll see if Turkey takes the invitation. And that's what Israel does. I don't think
okay.
Israel is going to let Turkey set up.
Oh,
That's what I think. Israel wants to control the whole shit, and Turkey being there in the center as opposed to the edge where they are now, is let's just see what Israel says about that. They will have a response, political or military or both. You know,
who knows?
yeah, the
Okay.
SDF seem to be. Yeah, I think you're right about that. SDF seem to be.
Yeah.
I think that's over. I think that's over for them. The way it looks right now, they took a real beating this last war, and I thought they had agreed to surrender. I thought they had agreed to surrender, turn over their guns. Didn't they agree to a surrender?
Some of them, but a number of the Arab tribes who are allies of the SDF, they quit their alliance with the SDF and they've joined into
Oh
the
my goodness.
in
Well,
Damascus.
that's
Yeah, so
well,
that's
that's yeah,
who has
that's over. That's over there. Huh. Interesting. Interesting. The pro-U.S. forces are taking a beating like that because what I heard was that the U.S. wouldn't help them when they were getting the beating, getting the beating at the prison. They asked for support, and the U.S. just turned a blind eye.
yeah.
They had dozens of people killed. I mean, they had dozens dead. I mean, they got wiped. They got messed up pretty bad, man. They had dozens dead. They had to jump on them.
Yeah.
And what South Front said that they asked for help, and the U.S. soldiers, the U.S. base nearby, it wasn't even like 5 kilometers away. They just kind of ignored them.
I know the U.S. cannot sort of disturb, the Damascus government at this point. They have to uh, they have to bow down. They take a knee, like before the revolution. Yeah.
Well, I mean, if that's what it takes for them to maintain their presence in the country with oil and politics. That's what they'll do. They'll throw anybody on look at they'll throw anybody on under the bus.
Yeah. And they want
Yes,
the
they will.
content sales for sure.
Yeah, yeah. So they'll throw if they SDF on the bus, fine. You throw you under the bus. That's it. You're done. Goodbye. They don't care. They want, and the people who think they got an ally in the U.S. stop being so stupid. Even though the Venezuela, have you heard the Venezuelan story? Are you aware of what's happening in Venezuela? Are you?
Oh,
There's um there's a development I came across last night. It isn't troubling, but it is eye-opening. The U.S. took the oil. Remember those oil tankers they were going to China that they seized on the high seas? They took the oil and sold it, and they gave it to some private banks in Venezuela. Now, the private banks, in collusion with the current government of Delcy Rodriguez, is now pushing for a change in some laws as far as investment. This is from Venezuela. I got this. I got it. Okay, firsthand from this. See, there was a group that was on the internet, which disappeared. They disappeared 3 months before the coup. It was kind of strange. I said, they just disappeared. Now they're back, or I found them last night on the internet. That's where I got the story from. So the National Assembly, the leader of the National Assembly, wants an opening on U.S. investment, foreign investment. This is from Venezuela. I'm not making this up. It's from the country. The current president agrees with opening up the investment. So I'm just going to say this: the U.S. will throw her under the bus too if they have to.
mm-hmm.
But right now, clearly, in her own words, well, our workers need money. Here's how our workers need money. The U.S. gave them I don't know how the U.S. gave the private banks this money. How that even goes down, I don't get that. But some Venezuelan bankers now have the money from not the Venezuelan government. The bankers have the money from the sale of that oil that was stolen off
Mm-hmm.
the high sea. Yes, the U.S. gave it to some bankers who are now leveraging the money to force changes in the Venezuelan laws. And it looks like they're going to be successful. Yeah, exactly. I'm just saying and next week, next time we have a show, I will share the documents I have. There's nothing secret, but I found that certain news agencies are getting a little bit more information than the U.S. press is telling us. And I think I said to you yesterday or somebody, I read somewhere that some Venezuelan oil companies had sanctions taken off of them recently, and they've been allowed not to sell oil on the world market.
Chevron.
So yeah, so the rest of Maduro, it makes me think that Maduro was an obstacle for these forces to allow these changes.
Uh-huh.
Because it seems like, and again, I'm not saying what I see in the news media. It's all I can talk about what I see. That the political and economic vehicles in Venezuela now are going to play ball with the U.S.
Yeah.
And I never had the impression that Maduro wouldn't play ball with the U.S. I think they didn't want him in the picture. That's what it
Yeah.
seems like to me.
Probably he was a bit more rigid than the others. That's all.
Right. That's what. See, again, I may be wrong. I'm just reading the newspaper. I'm just reading something in a paper. But
Mm-hmm.
there never has been a statement that Maduro wouldn't do oil deals. I never got that impression. Because
No.
Chevron is there, right? Chevron is there, right? Yeah, it's there. So therefore, if one company can come in, others could come in too. But the U.S. destroyed the oil industry. They destroyed with the sanctions. So
Refining.
something's going on. Something's going on. That's all I can tell you. How the private banks got the money legally, I don't know. But
Uh,
the oil was sold on the world market, and
this
some
was
private banks have got this money, and now they
like,
want some changes in the investment rules and laws in Venezuela. The National Assembly Director wants to, and Delcy Rodriguez, if unless she's being misquoted, is in agreement.
oh,
That's all I can say. I read it myself last night, less than 12 hours ago. Around midnight last night, I found the story. I was like, where's this group? Because they disappeared. I said, oh, it's Venn Analysis, some company, some nonprofit based in New York City with a branch in Caracas is putting this news out. I'm gonna tell you what I read, bro. I would not, I wouldn't put nothing out there that I thought was false, but it helps to connect the dots. Okay, the dots are being connected.
okay. So all this is going to continue, and we'll see
Yes,
big
yes,
in this coming week as well. And the American dollar is taking a dive. Gold is skyrocketing. That's a good indication
sure
of
is.
the American economy is going. It's going nowhere,
Going
despite whatever,
nowhere.
nowhere land. Okay. Yeah. Well, okay, that's it for this week then. Great
All
to
right,
hear from
brother. Of course, and I'm glad we got this out a little early. I want to really encourage our viewers and listeners to share, to like, to give us your comments, and remember that we're just not here to give a story. We're here to encourage you to organize and fight back.
you. Yeah.
We are a platform for organization,
Yes.
education, and mobilization.
And education and strategizing. We're beginning this strategizing of these social revolution that we're undergoing here, and we have to
Right.
have perspective on what's the momentum, what is happening, where it's going, like what we're doing, how we intervene, all that stuff. It's coming
All
up.
that stuff. Right. All that stuff. Right. Right.
See you next